We must defend the truth at all costs, even if we return to being only 12. Saint John Paul II.
Do you believe a dead man can change someone's life? In this video, we will tell the story of Saint Bruno, a man whose life was transformed by a supernatural message from a dead man. Discover how this extraordinary event not only changed Saint Bruno's life, but also inspired the foundation of one of the most rigorous monastic orders in the Catholic Church. If you are seeking spiritual inspiration or a new perspective on faith, this video is for you. Have you ever felt lost or needed a sign to move forward? Join us and see how faith can be strengthened in unexpected and powerful ways. Saint Bruno's life before his conversion. Saint Bruno was born around 1030 in the city of Cologne, Germany. From a young age, he demonstrated exceptional intellect and a deep inclination towards spirituality. His early years were marked by rigorous education, where he quickly stood out for his intelligence and devotion. Bruno continued his studies at the renowned Cathedral School of Reims in France, one of the most prestigious institutions of the time. There, he not only absorbed theological and philosophical knowledge, but also began to form his own ideas about the need for reform in the Church. His dedication to studies and faith led him to become a teacher and eventually the rector of that school. As an educator, Bruno earned a reputation for excellence. He trained many future clerics and religious leaders, always emphasizing the importance of spiritual purity and discipline. His influence spread throughout Europe, and he became known as one of the greatest theologians of his time. Through his teachings, he sought to instill a deep sense of devotion and spiritual responsibility in his students. However, despite his success and recognition, Bruno felt a spiritual emptiness that troubled him deeply. He knew that despite the reforms he preached, true change needed to begin in his own heart. This internal unrest drove him to seek a life of greater simplicity and connection with God. In addition to his academic activities, Bruno also became involved in broader ecclesiastical issues. He was a critic of corruption within the Church and a fervent advocate for the need for reform. His voice rose against the sale of ecclesiastical positions and other abuses that were corroding the integrity of the religious institution. It was this combination of personal quest for holiness and desire to reform the Church that prepared Bruno for the supernatural event that would change his life. He was at a point in his spiritual journey where any divine sign would be deeply significant. And that sign was about to come in a way he could never have predicted. The state of the Church in the 11th century. The 11th century was a period of great challenges and transformations for the Catholic Church. The institution faced a crisis of integrity, with corrupt practices such as simony, the sale of ecclesiastical positions, and the luxurious lifestyle of many clerics tarnishing its reputation. Many faithful were disillusioned and clamored for spiritual renewal. This crisis generated a growing reform movement within the Church. Reformers like Saint Bruno and other contemporaries felt a deep calling to restore the purity and discipline of Christian life. They believed that the Church should return to a model of simplicity and authentic devotion, where spirituality and service to God were at the center of everything. Saint Bruno, in particular, was immersed in this context of reform. As a respected educator and theologian, he used his influence to preach against the abuses he saw. He advocated for a life of austerity and contemplation, believing that this could heal the corruption infesting the Church. His ideas resonated deeply among those seeking a more genuine faith. The situation of the Church, with its internal challenges, also created an environment where supernatural events and divine signs were seen as necessary intervention. Many believed that God was trying to draw the attention of the faithful and religious leaders to the need for change. It was in this climate of expectation and desire for renewal that Saint Bruno's transformative experience occurred. In addition to the reform efforts, there was a growing emphasis on monastic life as a means of seeking pure spirituality. Monasteries were seen as sanctuaries of holiness in a corrupted world. Saint Bruno, with his dedication to reform, was drawn to this life of contemplation and spiritual rigor. The need for reform and the quest for a holier life set the stage for the foundation of the Carthusian Order by Saint Bruno. The order, known for its strict discipline and life of silent prayer, represented the materialization of Bruno's ideas about the need for deep spiritual renewal. And it was the supernatural vision during the funeral of Raymond Diocles that catalyzed this transformation in Bruno's life, leading him to dedicate himself fully to this new mission. Funeral of Raymond Diocles. Funeral of Raymond Diocles, a renowned professor from Paris, took place in an imposing medieval church. The church was filled with monks in traditional attire, singing funeral hymns, and Raymond's body lay in the center, surrounded by colleagues, students, and the faithful. The atmosphere was heavy, laden with sadness and reflection. Among those present was Saint Bruno, observing every detail of the ceremony, feeling a deep spiritual unrest. Raymond Diocles was a respected and admired figure, both in academia and the church. His sudden death had been a shock, and his funeral attracted a large crowd. During the ceremony, as the monks intoned their prayers and the faithful maintained a reverent silence, something extraordinary happened. Raymond's body began to move. Murmurs of shock and disbelief quickly spread through the church. All eyes were fixed on the coffin, and the tension in the air was palpable. Raymond Diocles, until then dead, partially rose from the coffin and began to speak. His voice, hoarse and haunted, resonated through the church, leaving everyone paralyzed with fear and amazement. The dead man's message, Raymond, with an expression of intense suffering, declared, "I'm being judged by God." These words echoed through the corridors of the church, profoundly impacting all those present. The vision of a dead man speaking about divine judgment was unimaginable, and many were terrified by the possibility of a similar fate. But that was not all. Raymond Diocles rose a second time, even more disturbed, and shouted, "I am being judged by God for my sins." Fear gripped the church, and the silence was broken by murmurs and cries of panic. Raymond fell back into the coffin, inert. The third and final time Raymond rose was the most frightening. He rose with an expression of absolute despair and proclaimed, "I am condemned by God's judgment." These final words cast a shadow of terror over everyone present. Raymond then fell dead for the last time, and an absolute silence took over the church. Everyone tried to process what had happened. For Saint Bruno, this supernatural experience was a turning point. He felt that God was sending a clear and powerful sign, calling him to a life of greater holiness and devotion. This supernatural event was the catalyst that Saint Bruno needed. Deeply shaken by what he had witnessed, he decided to withdraw from public life and seek a more austere and dedicated existence to God. This decision led to the foundation of the Carthusian Order, known for its rigorous discipline and life of silent prayer. The supernatural vision during Raymond Diocles' funeral catalyzed this transformation in Bruno's life, marking the beginning of a new spiritual journey for Saint Bruno and a profound contribution to the reform of the Church.
Embark on a spiritual journey with our new ebook, 50 Saints, Stories and Prayers for Divine Intervention. This inspiring collection delves into the lives of 50 revered saints, offering their powerful stories and heartfelt prayers to guide you towards divine intervention. Perfect for personal reflection or group study, this ebook is a must-have for every devout Catholic. Enhance your faith and discover the strength of these saintly figures. Find the download link in the pinned comment below.
Saint Bruno's Transformation. The supernatural vision at Raymond Diocles' funeral left Saint Bruno deeply impacted. He went through a period of intense reflection, reconsidering his life and his role in the Church's reform. Convinced that God was calling him to a life of greater holiness, Bruno decided to withdraw from public life. He dedicated himself to a more austere existence, focused on prayer and contemplation. This decision was not easy, but Bruno knew it was necessary to follow the divine call he felt so strongly. His quest for deeper spirituality led him to seek ways to live his faith more intensely and genuinely. In 1084, Saint Bruno founded the Carthusian Order, establishing a monastery in Chartreuse, France. The order is known for its rigorous discipline and life of silent prayer, characteristics that reflect Bruno's desire for deep spiritual renewal. The Carthusian monks live in solitude and silence, dedicating themselves to meditation and the pursuit of God. The foundation of the Carthusian Order was a milestone in the history of the Catholic Church. It represented the realization of Saint Bruno's ideas about the need for spiritual reform and a life of greater devotion. The order continues to inspire many to this day, with its emphasis on simplicity, contemplation, and deep dedication to God. Saint Bruno's story is a powerful testament to how God can touch our lives in unexpected ways. His response to the divine call led to the foundation of an order that continues to inspire many to this day. If you felt inspired by this story, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content about the Catholic faith. If you are interested in understanding more about the foundations of the Catholic faith, check out our next video on the history of the 7 sacraments. Just like Saint Bruno's life, the sacraments are essential pillars that connect us with the divine and guide us on our spiritual journey. Don't miss it.